In some newly found Epstein emails, we have had some pretty shocking information revealed to us, and today we're going to be going through and covering everything you guys need to know about the possibility of Joe Biden actually dying back in 2019, and an actor was actually filling in as the president, fake Biden, through his last presidency from 2020 to 2024. And again, this was directly in the newly released Epstein emails that is available on the Department of Justice website. If you guys want to go and find these for yourselves, you could see the exact one in the bottom right corner for the code and what email it is. And this one was actually sent on April 6th, 2021. So you guys can find it by date as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and start by reading the entire email and page from it, since it was multiple pages, where it goes on to say the global banning of common law live broadcast 8th of March 2021. Then it goes on to say maritime law is coming and the selling and owning of humans and human souls is over, which is already a crazy statement to start off with. There is factual evidence on the methods of operation for how law and legal proceedings will work next. Then there is another paragraph that's pretty pointless. I'll skip over that. And then it gets into the crazy stuff. And it goes on to say, hint, Biden is not your current president. The mask malfunctions on Biden are getting worse each day. On purpose, this will end badly for, and it goes on to name a name, but they unfortunately redacted some of the names in here. There is a few black bars covering them, who is posing with a clone on Facebook. The dude playing Biden ain't Biden. Real Biden was an evil, sick, angry man who abused children, including his own children. That's an actor with a mask. We've been over this 1,000 times. It's never going to change. Biden is shot 2019 by firing squad. So again, this is an insane, just this single email released out of millions of them just reveals just this bombshell that I feel like for a lot of people, if you weren't a part of the conspiracy theorists back in 2019, there was a lot of people that did realize that during Biden's last presidency, there was a lot of weird things that changed about his appearance over those few years, which had a lot of people believing that they were using actors and fill-ins with realistic skin masks, since obviously Hollywood has had the wildest makeup and CGI possibilities for years, so the government definitely has access to even better, so they could easily do that, in my opinion, and this pretty much confirms that that theory is real. And what's wild about this is this says that Biden died by firing squad in 2019, which is a pretty bold statement. It's also a very wild to be taken out like that. Honestly seems like an over-the-top way to take someone out. So he must have had something go on behind the scenes with all of these other elites connected to the Epstein web, because if that's how they chose to execute him, I feel like that's pretty cruel in my opinion. But they have done some pretty sick things as revealed by the other emails, so you really can't put it past these people how evil they are. One other thing to note here is it does say that Biden abused his own children, and if you guys remember back during the whole Biden laptop thing that took place early in his presidency, where there was information revealed via his laptop by the FBI, it did say, and was found in his daughter's diary, that he was doing some pretty weird things with his children. So this information also kind of lines up with that he definitely was being a creep or not great to his children. If it was saying that he was abusing them in this, and then the diary and laptop story checks out to be true, and he was also showering with his kids when they were at a pretty old age, which is also very weird. If you guys haven't seen that, I'm not going to get too much into it because it's pretty irrelevant, but that's just another story that lines up and connects perfectly with these emails, which kind of verifies how real they actually are. Now, something else that people also found, and again, this was before the Epstein emails were even released. This was from back in 2023 or 2022 during Biden's presidency when people found this. But if you go over to Ancestry.com and type in Biden's full name over on the search bar, where you're technically just able to find anyone's information, which is pretty weird, you could see it says Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., which was his full name, and it goes on to say that he died in 2018 in Guantanamo, Cuba. And again, this kind of makes sense now, because if they did actually take him out via firing squad, that is such a wild way to do it. I don't think they would ever do that anywhere in the United States. So the fact that it says it was in Guantanamo, Cuba, that's definitely a place where there is already a lot of corruption. We all know that. They could easily use a firing squad method there without going under the radar. And it kind of lines up with the 2019 date that the emails say, since this one says 2018. which again is extremely strange. And you could literally go to ancestry.com and find this for yourself. It's still there, but people realized this years ago. And for those of you that had no idea that this was even a theory in the first place about how Biden during his last presidency could have been a clone and multiple different actors were being used with realistic skin masks, here's some of the comparisons people made from Biden on the left. Here is in 2019, and this is in 2021. So it's pretty hard to believe that within a 2-year span, he would change so drastically. And these are just some of the details that people pointed out way back a few years ago. The main one that gave it away was the nose structure and also the earlobe structure. And you'll be able to tell here that the earlobe was a huge giveaway all along. They also pointed out some freckles, which you can obviously get those removed, but it's more about like the true facial structure when you compare them. You can also see this is Biden in 2019 and this is Biden in 2022. They honestly look nothing like, they don't even look similar at all. And it's only recognizable when you see it side by side like this. Here's another image where again people are comparing the differences when it comes to the ears and earlobe structure. This one from 2008 is not connected and rounded, whereas this one is connected and not nearly as circular. And usually I'm going to find a clip to show you guys, but usually when it comes to like the skin masks theory that people were talking about a few years ago, the mask was always ending around the ear as well. So that was also a giveaway, because if they didn't perfectly blend the mask into his ear, people were able to tell and realize. Like right here, it says, this is Joe Biden trying to remove his mask early. And this is basically a clip that shows Biden at some public event. I don't remember what it was, but this was back in 2023. And look, you can even see right here, if you really pay attention, you can see exactly where the line and break is of the mask, which, like I said earlier, it kind of goes along the chin and jawline and it goes up right before the ear. And that's like the front face skin mask that they used on these actors. And look, you could see here that he goes and starts trying to remove it, and it literally looks like he lifts up like a flap of skin right along the ear, and it's just caught on camera. And again, this was a theory. There was actually a lot of people talking about this back in the day, and a lot of people just kind of overlooked it. And then here, real quick, we just have a few more examples that I was able to find that I wanted to show you guys, just so you can draw your own conclusions. That's the whole point of these videos here on the channel, is to deliver you guys the information. You saw I read word for word exactly what that email said, which is, again, on the Department of Justice website. It's not like I'm making any of this up. And I'm just showing you guys the information and what people basically speculated and talked about a few years ago before the emails even revealed it. So you guys can draw your own conclusions based off the information I share. But you could see here that Joe Biden also had a pretty drastic change. And again, another thing that people were comparing the differences of is the signatures as well. From before and during his presidency term, they definitely changed a good bit. There's also more differences here. This is actual Biden on the bottom. Again, they focus a lot on the earlobe structure. And then the Biden on top has completely different ears, which no matter how much of a realistic skin mask you use, you can't change your actual facial structures when it comes to the earlobe. So it's pretty hard for them to hide that, but that's what people realized. And again, there's just more comparisons. There is a bunch of weird little differences from Biden during 2010 to 2015. And then just a few years later during his presidency, it really just didn't make a lot of sense. And this is just one more image zoomed in showing the part of that email we covered earlier, where it does say that he was killed via firing squad in 2019, which is still very hard to wrap my mind around. So let me know what you guys think based on all this information down in the comment section below. I want to use these videos and the comment section as kind of like a discussion place where we could bounce ideas, theories, and just what you guys think based off these emails, information, and videos that we're making here on the channel. So let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments. I'm very interested to know if you guys what you think about all of this shocking information. And thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. We have daily videos coming out covering everything you guys need to know, and you don't want to miss it.